Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us in our Caregiver Burnout webinar. Today, our speaker will be Ms. Katrina Boden. She is the Executive Director from Superior Counseling Services. If you all use audio, you may call in using the number in your registration confirmation if you use audio, so call in. Also, if you have any questions, you may put them in the chat box and Q&A will be at the end of the webinar. And also at the end of the webinar, please do not forget to do your survey. Ms. Katrina, we are in your hands.
Well, thank you, Kamika, for bringing us in today. I am so excited. Thank you all for attending our webinar, and this is Caregiver Burnout. In this webinar, we will discuss signs of caregiver burnout and ways to prevent it and to recover from it. So who is Ms. Katrina? I'm the Executive Director of Superior Counseling, like Ms. Kamika informed you. We have been doing telehealth services since 2018. We've been in business since 2010, and we provide mental health counseling. We have 3 locations, Shreveport, Ruston, and Farmerville, Louisiana. So we are on top of the boot. I have a lifetime teaching certificate from the state of Louisiana, and I'm a proud graduate of Grambling State University. So what is on our agenda today? We're going to talk about who is a caregiver, what is caregiver burnout. We're going to learn to recognize caregiver burnout, the reasons for caregiver burnout, are you burned out, prevention and recovery, resources, questions, and answers. So throughout our webinar, we will have all types of questions. So I need you to get you some paper and a pen. I need you to look and find out where your chat button is so that you can use the feature. Okay? I love interaction. So this is from my education background. So who is a caregiver? Let's practice this chat business. If you're a caregiver, type in yes in the chat. Are you a caregiver?
Yes, Katrina, we have several yeses in the chat. We have a lot of caregivers on today, so this is going to be the perfect workshop webinar for them. Yes, that's
Well,
great.
great. And it seems like everybody knows how to use the chat.
Exactly.
So there are 2 definitions that I'm going to give you for caregiver. The first one is the caregiver law and legal definition. It says that a caregiver is someone typically over age 18 who provides care for another. It may be a person who is responsible for the direct care, protection, and supervision of children in a child care home, or someone who tends to the needs of an elderly or disabled person. That's according to U.S. Legal Inc. Another definition of caregiver is any paid or unpaid member of a person's social network who helps them with activities of daily living. Since they have no specific professional training, they are often described as informal caregivers. Caregivers most commonly assist with impairments related to old age, disability, a disease, or a mental disorder. So, after hearing both definitions, which one do you think best defines a caregiver? Definition 1 or definition 2? Put it in the chat.
So we have Chastity, it says definition 1. We have Meredith, she says definition 1. Felicia, definition 1. Courtney, definition 1. Fred, definition 1. Roshan, definition 1. Kristen, Michael. We actually have Kathy, she says both. She said, but definitely a 2 for her. And then Robert says 1.
Sounds great. I like that I have different answers for that one, because
Mhm.
one is a professional definition and the other one is like quote unquote the unprofessional definition, meaning those are people who are in the households taking care of loved ones themselves. And so that person who said both 1 and 2, I think you hit the nail right on the head. It can be both of those definitions, but most importantly, it's the one that you see yourself as. So the next question is, can children under the age of 18 be caregivers? Remember earlier, in both of our definitions, they said adults or anyone over the age of 18. So can children be caregivers? And if so, who are they caring? Who are they caring for?
So we have Fred, he says yes. Meredith says yes. Chastity, yes. Fred says they are caring for their brother, sister, or someone in charge, sometimes parents.
Hmm.
Courtney says they're caring for their grandparents or maybe younger siblings. Michael says, let me go back because they are moving fast. You guys are quick. I like this. So Michael says yes, it would be their siblings or their parents. Robert says legally no. Chastity says parents. She also says yes, a sibling or a parent. Kathy says yes, but may need a lot of guidance. Meredith says she agree with the others on who. And then Linda says yes, caring for a disabled family member. Robert says, but sometimes they have to be the caregiver.
Okay, I'm loving this feedback. You
Yeah.
all are Zoom experts, right? So you all are very correct. The Caregiver Action Network states that 1.4 million children ages 8 to 18 care for an adult relative. That's an adult relative. 72% are caring for a parent or a guardian, and 64% live in the same household as their care recipient. So they may be doing care part time. Unfortunately, they did not look at those children who are caring for their siblings or for their parents alone. Okay. Because we find now that so many parents are working more than one job, or they may be working on an opposite schedule than the children being awake. And the older children have to care for their siblings. So, teachers, when you know that children are in your classroom and they may be caregivers, do you realize or comprehend how that may affect their school day? So, my next question would be, how can this affect the child negatively or positively throughout their life if they're found to be the caregiver for their siblings or other adults in their family?
So let's see. Okay, so Meredith says may not be getting much rest at night.
Mhm.
Kathy says no time to develop their own life. Michael says they are unable to process emotions appropriately, or it could help bring awareness to future issues in the family setting.
Okay, we have a lot of good answers. These
Yeah.
responses are just amazing. And
Uh,
you all are,
yeah, it's a lot. Robert says
okay,
this. Robert says most hate that they grow up too soon. That's a good one.
okay. So with all of these answers, parents, adults, because I'm saying parents and adults because some adults are not parents, but parents and adults and educators, people who are in contact with children, it's very important that you have conversations with them to see what's going on in their home. You're not being nosy or prying. You're just trying to figure out, why is this child acting or behaving in the way that they are, right? And it could be a positive thing, it could be a negative thing. But when we do an assessment, and I'm talking about an informal assessment where we're just conversing with the child, then we can hear if that child is in undue stress. Because when we talk about caregiver burnout, most of the time we're thinking about adults. We have to remember that these can be children as well. So, with that being said, let's look at this picture. There are all sorts of caregivers pictured from young to old, different ethnicities, races, illnesses, professions. Do you know who is actually the caregiver in these pictures? Can you just tell by looking at them who's the caregiver? Let's look at 1A and 1B. Top left-hand corner, bottom right-hand corner. When you're looking at that picture, can you determine who's the caregiver? Could it be the daughter that's caring for the mother, or the mother that's caring for the daughter? And these are questions I don't want answers in the chat right now. I just want you to think about it. I need you to open up your mind and see that just because you're looking at something, you cannot always make the correct assumption. Because a lot of the times when people are caregivers, they're just not caring for a physically handicapped adult. That's what we normally think about when we talk about caregiving. Sometimes these people are younger than them, the same age. The illness may be a physical illness. It may be a mental health illness. It may just be an internal health illness that you can't see, like those invisible issues that we see, like MS or diabetes or chronic heart diseases, where they need someone to take care of them. Now let's look at 2A and 2B. Two elderly couples. Sometimes the caregiver changes depending on the time of the year or what illness that's presented. So in either of these pictures, the women could be caring for their husbands, the husbands could be caring for the women or the wives, or it could be an interchanged responsibility. Now, take your eyes down to that bottom left-hand corner where you see 3A, 3B, and 3C. Now, this is where I want you to chat. I've opened up your eyes to some things. Tell me what's going on in that picture. Who is the caregiver? Tell me A, B, or C, or why.
Let's see, I'm looking in the chat. We have all. We have Miss Linda that says all. Sabrina says A. Nicole says all three. Dorinda says all. Kathy says could be all. Kristen, all three. So we're pretty much getting majority all three.
Very good. And it could be all three. Because sometimes now in the work environment, it has been previous as well, but those roles change interchangeably depending on what's going on in the work environment. So here, A is a doctor. He may have to give support to B or C. They may have a death in the family. They may be ill. They may be having stressors from their job as caregivers. So A may be giving them some moral or some mental support, caring for them. B and C can do the same for A. So yes, all. Now, I brought that point up so that we all will know that it's our responsibility, or it can be our responsibility, to make sure that we're talking to people that we see every day in our workplace, because they may be going through things that we can help them with. Experience is a great teacher. Now, as you continue to look at the pictures on this slide, do you see the little boy that's preparing the eggs? We're going to say he's making omelets, okay? So is he making omelets for a parent? Or is he making breakfast for his siblings before school because mom and dad are already at work? Because it's 2021, mom and dad could be in their separate rooms on a Zoom meeting. Look down at the bottom, the two little baby boys. It is evident that the oldest young boy may be the caregiver for his sibling. According to AARP May 2020 report, Caregiving in the US, you can find this report online through AARP May 2020 Caregiving report. Today, more than 1 in 5 Americans, that's 21% of Americans, are caregivers. They're providing care to an adult or a child with special needs at some time in the past 12 months. This totals an estimated 53 million adults in the United States. That's up from 43.5 million caregivers in 2015. So this has been a 10 million person increase. When looking at caregivers for adults only, the prevalence of caregiving has risen 16.6%. The growth in caring for an adult relative is up among African Americans by up to 88%. It's up 11% from 2015. The Hispanic caregivers are up 10%. They're 92% right now. And the youngest caregivers are also more often caring for an adult relative now at 91% than they were in 2015 at 85%. 3 in 5 caregivers are women, 2 in 5 are men, 6 in 10 caregivers are non-Hispanic whites, 17% are Hispanic, 14% report being of African American descent, and 5% report being Asian Americans. So from the answers you all gave, it proves that caregivers are the unknown. We cannot assume nor guess who a caregiver is. We have to ask, we have to talk to others to find out what's going on in their lives. Furthermore, caregivers, you cannot assume that others know your stress. You cannot assume that others know what you're dealing with every day. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Now, why are the numbers increasing? I'm going to tell you 5 to 4 reasons why these numbers may be increasing. Our baby boomer population is growing and they're living longer. Another reason is the limits to workers who are providing healthcare. We are having a low turnout for people who want to be long-term service and support workers. So there's a work shortage. There's an increased effort by states to shift people from in-facility to at-home or community-based services. So throughout the states in the country, they're saying, let's take people out of nursing homes. Let's not put them in assisted living facilities. Let's try to get them in a home. And when we talk about that, we're talking about the dollars. Medicaid and Medicare would prefer to pay for community-based services or at-home services. And we know why. That's because it's cheaper than 24-hour care. And there's another reason why the numbers seem to be increasing. Well, with us being in the technology area, we're knowing that people are now reporting that they're caregivers, that they're caregivers, they're self-reporting. So that's why our numbers seem to be increasing. So we've talked about caregiver burnout, what it is, the definition. Let's talk about what is caregiver burnout. So we know what caregiving is, but what is burnout? Burnout for caregivers is a state of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion. It may be accompanied by a change in attitude from positive and caring to negative and unconcerned. Burnout can occur when caregivers don't get the help that they need, or if they try to do more than what they're capable of doing. That's either physically or financially. Caregiver burnout is so very common. It has an extreme impact on providers. It may cause unemployment, bankruptcy, and even divorce. And the National Alliance for Caregiving and the AARP Public Policy Institute survey, they said that 40% of caretakers felt emotionally stressed. Almost 20% said that it caused them financial problems, and about 20% also said that they felt physically strained. But how do we recognize caregiver burnout? What does it look like? How can we tell you have it? The first one is depression. Signs of depression. Depression is a mood disorder that causes a persistent feeling of sadness and a loss of interest. They have increased stress. The person may become very agitated easily for no reason at all, yelling, hollering, slamming doors and cabinets for no reason. What's going on? They may have increased anxiety. So when I say increased anxiety, what is anxiety? Anxiety is an emotion characterized by feelings of tension, worried thoughts, and physical changes like increased blood pressure. People with anxiety disorders usually have recurring, intrusive thoughts of concern and worry. People who have caregiver burnout may be detached from people or activities that they once enjoyed. Maybe they're eating more junk food. Maybe they have a fuzzy brain. They can't remember things like they used to, and they may be unable to sleep. Now you see this increase, decrease. That's a tricky one. And I'm laughing because I know we all gained a little weight from the COVID-19 epidemic on last year. But when we have caregiver burnout, you may have an increase or decrease in weight, in sleep, or in eating. And guess what? It may differ from one time of the year to the next time of the year, just depending on what's going on with your situation. So what are the reasons for caregiver burnout? Type in the chat. Why do you think some people have caregiver burnout? So they know that they're working and they're caring for a loved one. They know what the signs are, but they don't know why they're having caregiver burnout. What's happening? What do you think?
Okay, we have someone that said too little help. No help, no escape, no respite. They may not have anyone to help them. They don't have any help. They're scared to ask for help. They're doing too much, not prioritizing. So basically the same thing, no help.
No help. I like that one. No help. And you all are very correct. But I have 5 things up here on the screen that tells you why we're having these issues. Neglected personal health. When you don't feel good, you are not good. Okay? When caregivers become immersed with the needs of others, they often forget to take care of themselves. They forget about their own emotional and physical health. They may not be eating healthy. They don't get enough rest. They don't exercise. And rest, exercise, and a good diet help maintain the energy that you need to provide for your loved ones. Okay? So when you neglect your physical health, you will run into burnout very quickly. Another reason is unreasonable demands. So caregivers commonly have family and financial responsibilities in addition to assuming the caregiver role. Right? So they're trying to do too much. Someone said it in the chat, just trying to do too much. In time, that burden can become too much to bear and lead to burnout. You know what? The caregiver may have high expectations. And I'm going to say too expectations, meaning the caregiver expects that their unselfish acts will have a large and a positive impact on the person that they're caring for. So they think that if they can take good care of them, that the person may get better. And sometimes they don't. And when they don't become better, then the caregiver loses his or her sense of self-worth and they become distressed. They feel like they're hopeless. They feel as if they were not able to take care of their loved one. Then there are challenging circumstances. Individuals playing the role as a caregiver might become frustrated when they find themselves in a financially difficult position. Because you're caregiving, you may have to cut back on your work hours, which means there's a decrease in your income. Along with that, you may be paying additional monies to help take care of the person that you love. These things are unplanned. So then they may have they present a challenging circumstance. And then I heard several of you say lack of support. Whether or not the caregiver is trained or they're volunteering or it's just a loved one, they are not getting the support that they need. Now, I'll tell you this, there are local community organizations throughout the nation that help with caregivers. They help teach them things, they help teach them how to cope. And I'll be providing those resources at the end of the presentation. So stay in. Now, are you burned out? We're going to take a survey. Right now, do you think you're burned out? Because a lot of you said you're caregivers or you were a caregiver. So, do you think you're burned out now? Or do you think you were burned out when you were a caregiver? Put in yes or no. And as you do that, make sure to get your paper and pencil because I need you to write some things down for the survey.
We have a lot of yeses currently. Yeah, a lot of yeses coming in.
All right. So it's time to take the quiz, you all. Okay? This is a resource because when you're providing services for other people, you need to have some type of resource to judge where you are mentally, physically, emotionally, and health-wise. So this is a survey, and you'll be getting this in your presentation with a PowerPoint at the end of this webinar if you would like that. So number your paper from 1 to 20, and I will read the questions to you. So the first question says, during the past few weeks, have you had trouble concentrating? Yes or no? Two, have you had problems making decisions? Three, have you felt completely overwhelmed? And four, were you worried that you weren't doing enough for your loved one? So those of you who were caregivers in the past, let's just put it based on your memory, how you felt during that time. Those of you who are current caregivers, you can do it as present. Okay? Question number 5. During the past few weeks, have you had problems sleeping? Was it disturbed because of a caregiver? 6, have you been overeating or do you not have an appetite? 7, have you felt ill? Headaches, stomach problems, back pain, common cold? And 8, have you felt weary or tired? 9, we're getting into the emotional side of this. During the past few weeks, have you been edgy and irritable? Have you felt lonely or isolated? 11, have you had any crying spells? 12, have you felt angry or resentful around your loved ones? All right, let's go to the next question. Have you been upset because your loved one has changed so much from their former self? 14, have you felt that you couldn't leave your loved one alone? because you were worried something would happen to them? Or 15, have you felt unsupported by your family? 16, have you found that your loved one's living situation is inconvenient or is a barrier to care? And these are the last 4, the personal area. In the last few weeks or previously, have you felt like you have no privacy? All your privacy is gone. Have you felt like you have no time for yourself? 19, have you felt strained trying to balance work and family responsibilities? And last but not least, number 20, have you been unable to spend time with your friends because of caregiving? All right, so I need you to tally up all your yeses. Tally up your yeses and tell me how many yeses you have in the chat. Now, if you don't feel comfortable sharing that, that's fine. But just put your number down and know what it is, because we're going to get your results.
Okay, so we have some numbers coming in, Miss Katrina. They're coming in fast. So we have a 19, we have 17, 12, 11, 5, 11, 11, 17. Yes. And that's all I see right now. And Tommy, oh, we have a 10 and we have a 15. And Tommy asked if we could share this presentation so we could show it with his wife. Tommy, this presentation will be uploaded to our YouTube channel later today. And then also give it probably like a day or two. And the PowerPoint will also be emailed out to you. And we have a 4. That's the lowest number I've seen so far. So good.
So enjoying that you all are participating. This is awesome. So what's your yes score? Okay, 5 or less. I heard a 4, right? You have little to no burnout. You're managing you are managing the demands of caregiving fairly well right now. Okay, right now. But I've given you all the information regarding to how do you get in the burnout space. So make sure you pay attention to that. Okay, keep monitoring your emotions. Make sure that you stay healthy. Remind yourself that it's okay to say no. So you're good. Now these 6 through 10s, you're flirting with burnout. Okay, you might think that you're just having a moment right now, but if you're on that 10 side, you're getting into the burnout. You're striking a match, okay? And we need you to make sure that you evaluate what's really going on. And I'm I'm appreciative that we're doing this now, because you're able to know that, hey, something could change. Any little thing could change, and it could just drop me over into the edge. So evaluate what you're doing. Make sure that you are physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially able to provide long-term care. And if you aren't, and after you look at your evaluation, make sure to talk it out with someone, some additional family members, or counseling, so that you can put a game plan in place to make sure that you don't get into burnout. All right, let's look at these 11s through 15s. Mild to moderate burnout. The fire has started, okay? It's burning, and it's burning a medium burn. We're getting a little heat now, okay? You're doing too much. You're busy taking care of everybody else that you're not taking care of yourself. Well, let me tell you all, when you start neglecting yourself, you are more prone to chronic conditions and premature death, heart attacks, strokes. We need to do something different right now. Okay. I need you to talk to your doctor about your well-being. Make sure you go get checked. I need you to get involved in some groups. I'll give you that information at the end of the presentation. I need you to talk to your family members and find out who can provide you with some respite. In the next slide, I'm going to give you a lot of different things you can do to back out of this fire that you're starting for yourself. Now, 16 through 20, you're in severe burnout. After this presentation, I need you to contact someone. My number will be on the last slide, so if you need to, you can give me a call. But I need you to reach out to family members, to your doctor, to someone, and let them know that you are in burnout and that you cannot do this at the pace that you're doing it anymore. You need help. You are at risk. So now that you know where you are on the burnout scale, we're going to talk about prevention and recovery. What can we do? We can make better food choices. Eating more nutritious meals helps your body maintain itself. It prevents the highs and lows from junk food intake so that you can stay healthy. Look, we need to increase the water intake. Drink your 7 to 8 glasses of water daily. Decrease the sodas and the sugary drinks. Exercise. 30 minutes every day relieves stress. Stretching and walking. Walking and stretching. Stretching relaxes the muscles and allows the body to breathe and relax. You need to learn about the illness. Why the person that you're taking care of, what's the illness? What are the pros and what are the cons of the illness? You may have the wrong expectations. Some things that you want to change just may not change. This may simply be the side effect of the illness or the disease. Create a bed routine. Like plan what time you're going to bed. Play you some relaxing music. Drink you something warm, some tea, some warm milk. Read a book. Relax your mind. Even if you do not go to sleep at that time, just get in bed, meditate, watch television. Make the let me know what I can do list. I know all of you all have heard that at the end of the conversation, it says, oh, okay, well, I'll talk to you later. Let me know what I can do for you, right? So you need to make that list. Anything that you can think of that others can help you do, you need to put it on, let me know what I can do list. For instance, pick up medications, take your loved one to a doctor's appointment, pick up the groceries, pick up lunch for us, pick up box store items from Walmart or Target, wherever they're going. Can you pick me up some Ensure? We're running out. Oh, we need some eggs. Could you pick that up and bring it over? Guess what? When they bring it to your home, you can use that 20, 30 minutes to talk, debrief, move into a different mental capacity. That let me know what I can do list can include taking your loved one out on an outing if it's possible for them to go to church or to the park, or they can come over and read to the loved one. They can read the Bible, they can read their favorite book, they can watch TV with them. So yeah, I know what you can do. Could you come over on Friday from 12 to 1 and watch the news with my loved one? Use respite care. Respite care allows a person, whether professionally or voluntarily, to spend time with your loved one without having to contact you. It's a break. Now, professionally, nursing homes, personal sitters, hospice agencies, and supported independent living agencies provide respite care. You may be able to receive this respite services through Medicare and Medicaid free of charge. So you can Google SIL. You can Google hospice agencies for respite, or you can just Google respite and find out those agencies that provide it. And journaling, write down how you're feeling, questions that you may have or concerns about the day. Get it out of your brain and ease your mind. Make self appointments. That's 1 hour per day to do something for yourself. Walking, sleeping, watching your favorite show by yourself, chatting with friends, doing puzzles, getting massages, anything that's your favorite. Take notes, you all, when you're a caregiver. Stop trying to remember everything. You're overloading your brain. Write it down. Use social media. Create a private Facebook page or a chat group, like on GroupMe, for your family members. Send the appointments, the doctor's names, the medical stats, the medicines and the dosages for your loved one. Your loved one's likes and their dislikes, the nurses' names. Share all of that in the group so that you don't have to continuously repeat the same information. You're documenting what's exactly going on. And if something happens to you unexpectedly, like an emergency, you may have to go pick up your child or go out of town for an emergency. Guess what? Everybody else can just pitch in because they already know what's been going on with your loved one. You all, if I cannot stress that more than enough, take notes and share those notes with your family members. Okay? Listen to your body. Notice when your head hurts, when you feel overwhelmed, you're agitated, you have pains, you can't remember stuff. Do something about it, like get a medical checkup, which is the next one. Go to the doctor, tell the doctor what's going on. They may be able to recognize additional symptoms that you're having that you did not have before and that you're not currently aware of, like a weakening immune system, like high blood pressure, other illnesses that you may be having. You create talk time, time that you just talk to other people, family and friends. Let them know how you feel. Bounce ideas off of them. Ask for help. Add people to the calendar. So these go together. Ask for help. Add people to the calendar. Let people help you and add them to your calendar to do things from that let me know what I can do list. Okay? Sharing caregiving duties with nearby friends, family members, neighbors, and professionals make all the difference in the world. And join a support. So there are tons of resources out there. And I was reminded, since this is a virtual webinar, that we have people from around the country on our webinar. So I had to go in and find some in-person group sessions. Send your link on the website, gives the 36 best caregiver support groups in Louisiana. And then for those of you who are outside of Louisiana, you can contact your local hospitals, respite agencies, churches, religious centers. You can contact the specific illness organizations like Alzheimer's, dementia, cancer, okay, the Heart Association. They all have their own group sessions that are in person. They also have virtual group sessions, okay? These are two, the University of Arkansas Medical Sciences and Vitas. They have virtual group sessions. You all, when I was researching for this presentation, I was so shocked that they are actually doing virtual group sessions. They're for an hour. They're by professionals. You can show your face. You don't have to, but they provide the services and you don't have to leave your home. Then there are national resources, AARP, NAMI, the National Alliance for Caregiving, the National Institute on Aging. Go to these websites. They are filled with tons and tons of information. More information than you possibly could ever want. But it's there. Go in, go to the website, dig in, and get the information that you need. This is our question and answers time. Do we have any questions? If you have a question, put it in the chat box.
Let's see, I'm checking the chat box, Miss Katrina, to see if we have any questions for this great information and this great presentation that you just provided us with. And while we're waiting on someone to put a question in the chat, I'll just say, because it was a lot of questions, yes, it is recorded. It is going to be on our YouTube channel, which is Families Helping Families Region 7. So just go to YouTube and search Families Helping Families Region 7, and that's where you can find this presentation along with other past presentations that we've done. I don't see any questions in the chat. Does anyone have anything they want to say? If you do, you can raise your hand and I can unmute you and you can speak directly with Miss Katrina. We have Miss Kathy. She says, thank you very much. Jamie says, this was so great and helpful. Nicole said, thanks for this. Let's see if we have any hands raised. Great presentation. Very informative. Kay says she loves the make the what you can do list. Courtney
Yep.
says great information, very helpful. I'm just trying to see, make sure we don't have anyone with their hand raised that wants to speak to you directly.
Okay.
Chastity says she could share this with her mother. Thanks so much. It was very informative. Very informative. Great meeting.
And while we're waiting on the rest of the comments, I'm going to say thank you to all of you who are caregivers. Like, you go beyond and above for your people that you love. And that takes a special person to do that. Everybody cannot do it. So this is a prayer for the caregiver by Bruce Mcintyre. It says, unknown and often unnoticed, you are a hero nonetheless. For your love, sacrificial is God at his best. You walk by faith in the darkness of the great unknown, and your courage, even in weakness, gives life to your beloved. You hold shaking hands and provide the ultimate care. Your presence, the knowing that you are simply there. You rise to face the giant of disease and despair. It is your finest hour, though you may be unaware. You are resilient, amazing, and beauty unexcelled. You are a caregiver, and you have done well. Thank you all for attending this webinar. I have truly enjoyed it. This is my contact information. This is the information for Superior Counseling Services. If you need to reach out to them for counseling for you or a loved one, please do so. If there's additional information in the chat that I need to be aware of, please let me know.
Okay, so we do have a question for Jamie, from Jamie. She says, what do you suggest is the best practice for those who are full-time caregivers and those who are doing full-time work in a similar field?
So the best suggestion would be to go back to that slide. This is what you need to do for recovery, right? And for prevention. So everything that we did for the caregiver, you need to do for yourself because you're getting a double dose of it, right? So I would increase the time alone to 2 hours a day. You have to be more vigilant about structuring your day. You have to become very organized for you, okay? Because most caregivers are organized for their loved one, right? They make sure that the loved one is on getting everything on time, the doctor's appointments on time, they eat at the right time, they go to sleep at the right time. They're changing them. You're talking to them, they see their favorite shows on time. You have everything organized for your loved one, but you forget to organize yourself. And that's the best information I can give you for taking care of yourself. Make sure that you're organized. Put yourself on a calendar, just like you have the routine for your loved one, and make sure that it includes those things that keep you healthy, like eating. If you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, put it on the calendar. If you're going to exercise, which you need, put it on the calendar. Okay. Let the people who said that they're going to help you come help you at that time from 1 to 2. You're going to write 1 to 2, caregiver. Miss Janie will come and sit with my mom. And now next to that, I will take a 1 hour walk. Leave. Don't participate in their time together. You use that time for yourself.
And we just had a couple of more comments to come in that I want to read to you. Ms. Linda said, this was a great presentation. Been taking care of my mom for 2 years, and the first time I've gotten this information. And then Mr. Tommy says, now I can blame my 15 COVID pounds to burnout instead.
Yes, that's a good one.
Tommy also said, enjoyed it. Many of us feel burnout, and it's good to know that we are not alone and that there's help out there. Let's see. I'll start with that because I feel like I'm drowning most of the time. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then our YouTube channel again is Families Helping Families Region 7. And then I think this is Nicole. I have some advice if that's okay. I've learned from experience, if you do go that route of respite care and it doesn't work out, keep trying until you find someone. It's time, and yes, but don't give up. That's true. Very true, Nicole.
That's very true, because all agencies are not the same. Okay, so if you get a bad one, just keep going through, go to the next one. Keep going to the next one.
And then they said that I saw someone that says that the prayer was very powerful, and it brought tears to their eyes. I think that's it. I want to make sure I cover everyone that said something. Chastity said, I guess it's when you were doing the prayer, she said, yes, it does. Special people with love and compassion and strength from God. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I see in the chat, Miss Katrina.
All right. So you see the numbers to Superior Counseling Services. If you need counseling or you think you need someone to talk to you because you have caregiver burnout, please contact us. And if we cannot help you, we will point you in the right direction. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for participating. And thank you all for being caregivers.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.